Thank you for tuning into the Grid Center. I'm your host, Shane Falco. As you can see, I have no little D to help me out this evening, as he's doing his in living color Jamaican skit impersonation, working a billion jobs, so he's trying to get that done. So I have no help here tonight, so I'll do my best to give you the information and hopefully entertain you in some way, shape, or form. This is the SEC Conference Playoff Preview for your fall 2011 season. When we filmed the Big Ten and the Pac-12, we did not have individual award winners announced at that time. They have since been released, so I'd like to first shout out congratulations first to Antoine Tweezy Bynum from TMT for winning both the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year awards with his record-setting sack season. Definitely hats off there, as he definitely controlled the line of scrimmage in many, many games. And then your Offensive Player of the Year was Anthony Whitney from Body Count. Despite missing a couple games, put up big numbers in the conference, so congratulations to him as well, even though Body Count didn't miss the playoffs. And there's no little D here to talk about it. Maybe that's why he missed this filming. Who knows? Anywho, getting into the matchups we have for the this coming weekend, we have Sick With It versus Bad Boys in the 4 versus 5 matchup. Historically, these teams have been pretty evenly played. A couple of upsets by the Bad Boys, thanks to Grid Center broadcast from seasons past with my former co-host Don King, as he got the Bad Boys fired up to play that game. And then a tough playoff matchup, I believe, later that season as well, when Sick With It pulled off the win. Sick With It's been under the radar this season, pretty much flying low, got a revamped roster. They still have one of the most dangerous playmakers in the game with Steven Johnson, and Mark's been having a pretty good season. Diet's really working out. When they played the Bad Boys earlier this season, it was pretty much a whooping, about 26-0, and Bad Boys just had no answer. Bad Boys have been hot and cold. They're one of those teams where they get the emotions going and the defense is playing, and they can control the line of scrimmage with the offensive and defensive line in their run game, then they're really tough to beat. But you get on them early and get them arguing with each other, and then you can pretty much run it up. At least some of the SEC teams can. So this is going to be a matchup of how DBs and the guys control themselves, and how Sick With It comes out after getting shut out in Week 10 against DX. So it's going to be an interesting matchup, as both of these teams looking to face DX in the first round, in the second round. Again, Sick With It lost to DX 19-0 in Week 10 in a game that they were not happy about at all. And it was actually a big trademark game for DX's improved defense, as they pitched a shutout against one of the top teams in the league. So it's a big move there. And then looking ahead, if the Bad Boys were to win this game, when they played DX earlier in the season, they set a gridiron record for overtimes, finally beating DX in overtime 10-8, as they had to go for 2 since they were in like the 57th overtime. Very hotly contested game, couple of calls that may have gone the other way or not. Regardless, the Bad Boys really frustrated DX all game, and DX didn't put up their trademark amount of points. So it'll be an interesting game to see, as obviously there's some bad blood there with the Bad Boys and DX from that game, and then Sick With It doesn't have a good taste in their mouth from the shutout in Week 10. So I'm sure they're going to be looking to turn that around, as they look to get hot in the playoffs. In the 3-6 matchup, we have No Limit versus the Rebel Alumni, who got in their first season. In the earlier season matchup, No Limit won, was it 19-14? So, and Rebel Alumni have not brought a full squad to many of the games, so it'll be interesting to see if all their roster shows up or not. For their first season, jumping into the flag game, they have some experienced flag league players, but for the most part, most of the guys are new. They did a pretty good job getting into the playoffs there. Actually kind of got a break playing Big 12, or Big 10, sorry, Nellis, where Nellis decided to try and sneak a score in when they had the game all completely locked up, and then Rebel Alumni turned it over, or forced an interception, and then went on to win the game, essentially eliminating Body Count from playoff contention. So getting in there, so their first game will be against No Limit. Again, they played very close. Gene hasn't played particularly sharp down the stretch, so No Limit might be, or Rebel Alumni might be able to capitalize on this game. They have playmakers when they're all there, so it should be an interesting matchup, despite No Limit's pretty stacked roster overall. Looking ahead to the second round, both these teams will be looking in the second round. The winner goes on to play TMT, and the first time these teams met, TMT beat No Limit 20-13 with Slim at QB, as Clee wasn't able to make the game. So that's not a good sign for No Limit if they're already losing to TMT and Clee hasn't even played yet. Again, there's a lot of talent on No Limit's roster, so things could always change, but everyone in the league knows how TMT plays when the playoffs come around, so we expect to have a lot of guys there, and their defense is going to bring it. So when the Rebel Alumni played against TMT, it was not a close game at all. 25-0 TMT victory. I expect if the Rebel Alumni upset No Limit in the first round, it'll be more of the same, as their defense is just gonna pretty much frustrate the Omar Clayton from the Rebels all game, and TMT will be able to move the ball on them with pretty much ease. So if the Rebel Alumni go on, then I expect TMT is going to have no problem getting to the next round. If No Limit goes on, it's going to depend on which Gene shows up. If Gene shows up, plays sharp and well, then they could be in the game, because again, they have a lot of playmakers and a lot of talent. If Gene doesn't show up to play at a high level, then TMT can run away with this one. Again, they've already beaten No Limit without Clee, so that's already a bad sign, like I said, for No Limit looking ahead. For the first round winners, I'm going to say Sick With It moves on, and No Limit moves on. And it's going to be interesting to say here, but it's going to be some good matchups in the second round. But I'm going to go ahead and say we're going to have a Sick With It TMT final. A lot of people are going to be shocked, I'm sure, because a lot of people think I'm a DX fanboy for one, but I just think Sick With It's in one of those under-the-radar kind of seasons, and they're going to be looking to upset and do some things differently that they didn't do the first time around. So it'll be interesting to see. Disco's been hot and cold this season, so if he's not completely on, then Sick With It easily can take that game. It's going to just depend on what DX team shows up, or how loose they play, if they get tight, or what'll happen. Again, nobody really knows, but I'm just going to go ahead and say Sick With It TMT reach the finals in these games, and the Sick With It DX game will be a close game regardless. So I think it'll be whoever comes down to having the ball last. It'll be one of those kind of games. So, well, that'll wrap it up for me, Shane Falco, here on your SEC Conference playoff preview. Good luck to all the teams out there. Let's have some nice, clean games, and congratulations to anyone that wins, and congratulations to the award winners again, and look forward to seeing you around the fields.